His hands were warm when they touched my back. At first, I thought it was comfort, the kind you get when someone cares. But the longer he held me, the colder I felt. That was the moment I realized, maybe I'd just hugged the wrong stranger. My name is Benita George, and this is how one simple hug almost ruined my life. I was standing at Garrison Junction, shaking, crying, trying to act normal. My face was swollen, and my slippers were already tearing. Cars were honking. Vendors were shouting. People kept walking past me like I was invisible. Then I saw him. Tall, neat, calm face. He looked like the kind of man who wouldn't hurt a fly, or at least, that's what I thought. I whispered, "Please, can you just pretend to hug me?" He frowned a little, confused. "Sorry?" he asked. I looked around quickly. My ex-fiancé, Eddie, was somewhere nearby. I had just seen his black Corolla turn onto the street. "Please," I begged, my voice shaking. "Just act like you know me. Pretend to hug me. Please, just for a second." The man looked at me, then looked around. Maybe he thought I was crazy, but still he opened his arms slowly. "Okay," he said softly. "Come here." I stepped into his arms. For a moment, I felt safe. I buried my face in his shirt, pretending to laugh so Eddie wouldn't recognize me. The man's hand rested gently on my back, then pressed slightly harder. That's when I noticed something strange. He whispered, "You're safe now." But the way he said it, too calm, too steady, sent chills down my spine. When I looked up, Eddie's car had driven past. I sighed in relief and stepped back. "Thank you," I said, smiling weakly. "You just saved me." He smiled too. "No problem. Are you okay?" "Yes, I just needed to hide for a bit." He looked at me curiously. "Hide? From who?" I forced a laugh. "Long story." Hey viewer, if you're still watching, please click subscribe right now. Because what I'm about to tell you next will make you question every stranger that ever smiled at you on the road. He stood there, hands in his pocket. "You look like you've been crying." I wiped my eyes. "It's been a rough week. Want to talk about it?" I shook my head. "No, I'm fine." He nodded slowly. "Okay, but it's not safe for you to stand here alone at this hour. I can walk you to the bus stop." I hesitated. Every part of me said no. But then I looked around. The sky was already getting dark, and Eddie could come back anytime. So I nodded. "All right." We started walking down the road together. He introduced himself. "My name is Daniel." "Benita," I said. He smiled. "Nice name." "Thanks," I muttered. He asked, "Boyfriend trouble?" I laughed a little. "Ex. He's obsessed. Can't take no for an answer." Daniel shook his head. "Some men don't know when to let go." We walked quietly for a bit. The street lights flickered. Someone nearby was frying puff puff, and the smell made my stomach growl. Daniel chuckled. "Hungry?" I sighed. "I haven't eaten since morning." He pointed at the woman selling roasted corn across the street. "Let's get some." I didn't want to say yes, but hunger doesn't listen to pride. We sat by the corn seller's stall, eating slowly. Daniel kept watching me like he was studying every move I made. "So," he said after a while, "where do you stay?" "Nowhere," I said without thinking. He looked surprised. "Nowhere?" I nodded, biting the corn. "I left his house 2 days ago. Been moving around since." He leaned forward slightly. "You shouldn't be outside like this. It's dangerous." I laughed softly. "You sound like my mother." He smiled. "Maybe I care like her too." That line made me blush, but something about it felt off. Too fast, too familiar. We finished eating. He paid, even though I insisted. When we got to the bus stop, rain started falling lightly. I groaned. Perfect. Just what I needed. He looked at me. "Do you have anywhere to go?" I shook my head. "Not really. I'll find something." He paused for a moment. "You can crash at my place for tonight. I live with my sister. It's just around Rumuokoro." I froze. Part of me wanted to say no. Another part, the tired, hungry, heartbroken part, said yes. He must have noticed my hesitation because he added, "You can sleep in her room. I'll even drop you at the park tomorrow. No strings attached." I looked into his eyes. They looked sincere. Maybe God sent him. "Okay," I said quietly. He smiled. "Good, let's go." As we walked, I couldn't help but think of Eddie. The last time I saw him, he was throwing my clothes out of his apartment, shouting, "You'll regret leaving me." I had spent 2 years with him. 2 long, painful years full of shouting, control, and tears. When I finally ran away, I thought I was free. But standing beside this stranger, walking through the dim streets of Port Harcourt, I began to wonder if freedom had just taken a different shape. Daniel walked slightly ahead, holding his umbrella. I watched him from behind. the confident stride, the calm posture. He looked too good to be true. Maybe he was. When we reached the compound, it looked peaceful. A small bungalow with flowers near the gate. A dog barked once and stopped. Daniel opened the door. "Come in." I stepped in slowly. The living room was neat, almost too neat. Everything smelled like air freshener and candle wax. "Your sister's not around?" I asked. "She's asleep," he said quickly. "You can take her room. Second door on the left." I nodded and smiled. "Thank you. You're really kind." He smiled back. "Get some rest, Benita. You'll be fine." As I entered the small room, I sighed deeply, finally letting my body relax. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in a long time, I wasn't crying. I lay on the bed and whispered to myself, maybe the world isn't as wicked as I thought. But if I had looked closer that night, at the small black object Daniel had quietly slipped into my handbag while hugging me, I would have known that evil sometimes wears a soft smile. When I woke up the next morning, sunlight was already leaking through the curtains. For a second, I couldn't remember where I was. Then I saw the neat room, the strange perfume smell, and remembered Daniel. He had offered me a place to sleep. He said his sister lived here, but the house was too quiet. No sound of footsteps, no clanging pots, no morning radio, just silence, thick, eerie silence. I got up slowly, tied my scarf, and stepped into the living room. Daniel was sitting on the couch, fully dressed, drinking tea. He smiled the moment he saw me. "Good morning, sunshine." I gave a small smile. "Morning. I'm sorry I overslept." He chuckled. "It's okay. You looked like someone who hasn't rested in weeks." He was right. I hadn't. There was something calming about his voice. Too calm. The kind of calm that makes you forget to question things. "Is your sister up?" I asked, looking toward the hallway. He paused for a second before answering. "She already left for work." "Oh, I didn't even hear her." "She leaves early. Very early," he said, sipping his tea. Then he looked at me with a small smile. "You can freshen up. There's food in the kitchen. Eat before you go." That kindness melted me again. After all I'd been through with Eddie, the shouting, the threats, the insults, meeting someone gentle felt like a gift. Maybe Daniel was one of the good ones. I took a quick bath and came out to meet him still seated, scrolling through his phone. He looked up and said, "You clean up nice." I smiled shyly. "Thank you." He stood and handed me a plate of bread and egg. "Eat, please. You'll feel stronger." I sat, eating slowly. He watched me quietly. "You have anyone you can stay with?" he asked. I shook my head. "Not really. My mom stays in Abba, and my dad is late. I don't really have close friends here." He nodded slowly. "That's rough, but you seem strong." I laughed a little. "Strong? You didn't see me yesterday." He smiled. "We all have weak moments." There was a short silence. Then he said something that made me freeze. "You trust me, right?" I blinked. "What?" He laughed, waving his hand. "Relax. I mean, after last night, you let me help you. That means you trust me, yeah?" I forced a smile. "I guess so." But deep inside, something shifted. Who even says that so early in the morning? After breakfast, I said, "I'll get going. Thank you for everything." He frowned slightly. "Already?" "Yes, I need to find work. Maybe visit a friend at Choba." He stood, blocking the door gently. "At least let me drop you off." "Oh no, you've done enough." "I insist," he said softly. I nodded slowly. "Okay." We got into his car, a clean silver Camry that smelled of fresh leather and cinnamon air freshener. He played soft music, something from Hillsong. He hummed along as we drove. It felt peaceful, maybe too peaceful. Halfway through the ride, he said, "You know, I work with a charity. We help women like you, those who need a fresh start." I turned to him, "Really?" "Yes. We train people, give small business grants. You could benefit." My eyes lit up. "Wow. That would mean a lot." He smiled. "I'll send your name to my boss." My heart warmed. Maybe this was God's way of repaying me after all the pain. He dropped me at the park and gave me Sue 5,000. "Just take care of yourself. I'll call you." I wanted to hug him, but remembering the first one, I just said, "Thank you, Daniel." He smiled. "Stay safe, Benita." I didn't know that as I thanked him, something inside my bag was already glowing faintly. A tiny black chip hidden under my wallet. That day, I went to stay with a girl I knew from work, Lydia, in Rumuola. We had shared a hostel before. She was shocked when she saw me. "Benita, you look like you've been fighting demons." I laughed weakly. "Something like that." We talked. I told her about Eddie, and she shook her head. That man was always crazy. You should have left sooner. I know, I said, looking away. Then she asked, so where did you sleep last night? I hesitated. At a friend's place. He helped me. She raised a brow. A friend or a man? Both, I said quietly. She smirked. Just be careful. Some of these helpers are predators wearing perfume. I laughed, but something in me felt uneasy. That night, Daniel called. Hey, Benita. Just checking in. I smiled. I'm fine, thank you. You? I'm good. I told my boss about you. He's interested in meeting you tomorrow. Really? That's so nice. Yes, but it'll be at his private office. He doesn't like crowded places. Oh, okay. Where exactly? Near Rupakwu. Don't worry, I'll pick you up. I paused. Rupakwu is far, he chuckled. Just trust me, Benita. You'll thank me later. The way he said that last line made me uneasy again. The next morning, Lydia wasn't home. She had gone to work. Daniel texted, I'm outside. When I stepped out, he was leaning on the car, smiling like always. You look good, he said, thanks. I entered the car. We drove in silence for a while. After a few minutes, I noticed he wasn't driving toward Rupakwu. He was taking a side road, a quiet one that led behind Eliozu. Daniel, I said, trying to sound calm, this isn't the way. He smiled. Shortcut, but my chest was already tightening. Are you sure? Relax, Benita. You don't trust me? That same sentence again. You don't trust me? My throat went dry. Where exactly is this office? He smiled faintly. You'll see soon. Finally, we stopped in front of an unfinished building. My heart skipped. This doesn't look like an office. He turned off the engine. We're here. He stepped out first. I didn't move. He came to my side and opened the door. Come on. I think I'll wait in the car. He sighed. Don't be dramatic, Benita. You wanted help, didn't you? His tone changed, no longer soft, no longer kind. I slowly stepped out. My legs felt weak. He led me inside. The place was dim, smelling of dust and oil. There were two men sitting on plastic chairs, smoking. They looked up as we entered. One of them said, This the new one? Daniel nodded. Yes, don't touch her until I say so. My blood turned to ice. What's happening? I whispered. He turned to me, smiling calmly. Relax, this is just a small process. You'll be fine. Process? He moved closer. You're special, Benita. You were chosen. I stepped back. Chosen for what? He smiled wider. For something bigger than you. I turned to run, but one of the men blocked the door. Daniel, please, I cried. He raised a hand. Shh, you talk too much. The men stood up slowly, closing in. Suddenly, I heard someone shouting outside. A woman's voice. Daniel, you said you'd bring her to church. He froze. Who told you to come here? He barked. I looked toward the door. A middle-aged woman wearing a long scarf ran in. Daniel, this is wrong. You promised you were done with this. The men cursed under their breath. One grabbed his bag and slipped out through the back. Daniel's face twisted. You shouldn't have come here, Faith. She looked at me. Run, my dear. Run. I didn't think twice. I darted out through the half-open door. Get her! Daniel shouted. I ran like my life depended on it, because it did. Barefoot, heart pounding, through the wet sand and puddles. I didn't stop until I saw a major road and waved down a KK. Please just go, I cried. The driver looked confused but sped off. Through the window, I saw Daniel's car speeding in the opposite direction. When I reached mile 1, I jumped down and sat by the roadside shaking. People walked past me, staring. My chest burned, my head spun. I opened my handbag, searching for my phone. That was when I saw it, the tiny black object stuck under my wallet. A small blinking light. I pulled it out, confused. What is this? It was a tracker. All those times he asked, You trust me? He didn't want trust. He wanted access. I threw the device into a drainage and burst into tears. I didn't know who that woman was, but she saved me. I just sat there crying, my heart breaking, realizing how close I came to becoming another missing face on a poster. If you're still watching this story, please click subscribe right now, because in the next part, I'll show you what really happened after I escaped, and what Daniel was truly hiding in that building. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Daniel's face. Calm, smiling, then cold, evil. The way he said, You were chosen, kept echoing in my head. I didn't even understand what I had been chosen for. But I knew one thing. If that woman hadn't come when she did, I might not be alive to tell this story. I slept in a small lodge near mile 3. It wasn't really a lodge. more like a beer joint with rooms attached. The woman at the counter didn't even look up when I paid. "Room 7, she said flatly, dropping a key on the counter. The room smelled of cigarette and old curtains. I didn't care. I just locked the door, sat on the bed, and cried. My whole body hurt, from running, from fear, from betrayal. How did I end up here? I just wanted peace. Just wanted to escape Eddie's madness. And now I'd almost walked into something worse. By morning, I took a bus to Romola. Lydia nearly fainted when she saw me. "Benita! Jesus Christ! What happened to you?" I dropped my bag and started crying all over again. She made me sit down. "Talk to me. Where did you go yesterday? You just disappeared." I told her everything, from the hug to the charity job to the building to the woman who helped me escape. She stared at me, speechless. When I finished, she whispered, "That man could have killed you." "I know," I said softly. She paced around the room. "You're reporting this to the police right now." I shook my head. "No. I don't even know his full name or where he lives." "Benita, at least try," she snapped. "Do you know how many girls go missing like this in Port Harcourt?" Her voice cracked a little, and I could tell she was scared too. I nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll go." That afternoon, we went to Mile 1 police station. I gave my statement, told them everything I could remember, his name, car model, where the building was. The officer on duty, a round man with tired eyes, kept scribbling on paper. Then he looked up and said, "Madam, are you sure this is not relationship Wahala?" I frowned. "Excuse me?" He shrugged. "Maybe not ex-boyfriend matter. You people like to exaggerate." Lydia slammed the table. "Officer, she almost died." He sighed. Okay, we'll check it out." But from the way he said it, I knew they wouldn't. We left the station. Lydia muttered, "Sometimes it's like women have to die first before they take us serious." That night, I couldn't stop thinking about the woman who saved me. She called Daniel Faith. Who was she? And why did she say, "You promised you were done with this"? I decided to find her. The next day, I went back to the area where everything happened, behind Eliozu. The unfinished building was empty, but nearby there was a small kiosk selling recharge cards and sachet water. I asked the old man there, "Uncle, good afternoon. Please, do you know a woman named Faith? She came here 2 days ago, medium-height scarf on her head." He scratched his beard. "Faith? The one that used to live near the mechanic yard?" "Yes." He pointed down the road. "Third compound after that big palm tree. Ask for Mama Faith." I thanked him and followed the direction. When I reached the compound, a woman was sitting outside washing clothes. "Good afternoon," I said. "Please, is Mama Faith around?" She looked up. "You mean Sister Faith? She went to the market. You can wait." I sat on a stool, heart pounding. 15 minutes later, Faith walked in carrying a small nylon bag. When she saw me, she stopped. "You," I stood quickly. "Yes, I'm the girl from that night. You saved me." Her expression softened. "You shouldn't have come back here." "I just wanted to thank you," I said quietly. She sighed deeply. "You don't owe me thanks. I was only correcting my mistake." I frowned. "Your mistake?" She dropped the nylon and looked away. "Daniel was my husband." My heart froze. "What?" She nodded slowly. "We used to run a deliverance ministry together years ago. But after our second miscarriage, he changed. He said he found a new calling. That was when everything dark started." I sat down shaking. She continued, "At first, it looked harmless. He prayed for women, gave them comfort. Then one day, I found out he was using those same women for his rituals. He said hugs transferred energy of pain to him. That's where he drew his power from." I gasped. "Jesus Christ." She nodded sadly. "I left him, but I couldn't stop him. I've been warning girls whenever I can. When he called me that day, he said he was helping another broken one. I followed him secretly. Thank God I did." Tears rolled down my cheeks. "So all that hug thing," she looked at me, "was not comfort. It was a mark. The moment he touched your back, he transferred something." I shivered. "Transferred what?" "Bondage," she whispered. "Spiritual and physical. That's why he could track you." I remembered the tracker, the black chip, the voice that said, "You trust me?" Everything started to make sense. That evening, Faith gave me a small bottle of anointing oil and said, "Use this to pray for 7 nights. Don't talk to strangers. Don't pick unknown calls. Don't hug anyone until the 7 days are complete." I nodded quickly, gripping the bottle like it was life itself. She added softly, "If you dream of him, don't run. Just call the name of Jesus. Don't show fear. He feeds on fear. Those words echoed in my head for days. On the third night of the prayer, I had the dream. I was standing in the same unfinished building, wearing a white dress. Candles surrounded me. The air smelled of smoke. Then I heard a voice behind me. Benita, I turned. Daniel was standing there, smiling just like before. "Why are you running from me?" he asked. I whispered, "You're not real." He took a step closer. "I helped you. I gave you shelter, and you betrayed me." "Stay away," I said, clutching the bottle in my hand. He tilted his head. "You think that woman can protect you? Even she still belongs to me." My hands shook. I wanted to run, but Faith's words echoed, "Don't show fear." So I stood still and whispered, "In the name of Jesus, let me go." He laughed. "You think that works here?" Then the ground started cracking. The candles flickered. He stretched his hand toward me. "Come back, Benita." I screamed, "Jesus!" A burst of light filled the place. Daniel screamed, covering his face. Then everything went blank. I woke up on my bed, sweating, shaking, but alive. I went straight to Lydia's house, banging on her door. She opened it, half asleep. "Benita? What are you doing here?" "He's back," I gasped. At that exact moment, my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. "Nice job, Benita." My hands started shaking. Lydia read it and whispered, "He knows." Then another message came. "Check your mirror." We turned slowly toward the small standing mirror beside her bed. For a second, we saw only our reflections. Then behind us, faintly, someone smiled. If you're still watching this story, please click subscribe right now. The moment I saw that smile in the mirror, everything inside me froze. It wasn't Lydia's reflection. It wasn't mine. It was him, Daniel. His face appeared faint, like smoke caught in glass. He smiled softly, tilting his head. I screamed and threw the mirror down. It shattered into 100 tiny pieces, but even as the glass broke, his laughter echoed in the room. Lydia was shaking. "Benita, what did you bring into my house?" "I didn't bring anything," I shouted. "He's following me." The laughter stopped. Then, from the broken shards on the floor, we heard his voice again. "You can't destroy what you bonded with." We ran out of the house barefoot. Lydia's cousin followed, carrying his camera bag. I didn't even know where we were running to, just away. We ended up near Roomwigbo Junction. The air smelled like dust and diesel. I sat on the sidewalk, crying. Lydia knelt beside me, panting. "Benita, what is happening?" "I don't know," I whispered. "He's supposed to be human, but he's not." Her cousin spoke softly. "Then you need a different kind of help." The next day, we went to a small church at Memgibuoba, one known for quiet deliverance sessions. The pastor, an older man with gray hair and gentle eyes, listened as I told him everything, from the hug to Faith's death to the mirror. He didn't interrupt. When I finished, he said calmly, "There are men who use affection as an altar. They twist love into a weapon." I felt my chest tighten. "So I'm cursed?" He smiled faintly. "No, you're marked, but marks can be erased." He prayed over me, pouring oil on my head and back. It burned slightly. When I flinched, he said, "That pain means something is breaking." He made me fast for 3 days. No meat, no sleep after midnight, just prayer. Every night, I saw Daniel in my dreams, sometimes standing far away, sometimes whispering behind me. On the third night, he said, "You can pray all you want, but I live where your pain lives." I woke up crying, shouting, "Get out!" That was when I realized something. He didn't just feed on hugs or rituals. He fed on pain. My pain. Every fear, every heartbreak, every tear was his power source. On the 4th day, the pastor told me, "You must face him one last time, not physically, but spiritually. You must go back to where it started." "The building?" I asked. He nodded. "At midnight. Take this oil, this Bible, and the faith that God hasn't left you." Lydia begged me not to go. "Benita, please, no more midnight adventures." "I have to," I said quietly. "If I don't finish this, he'll never stop." She hugged me tight. "Then I'm coming with you." I smiled through my tears. "Okay, but if anything happens, you run." At 11:45 p.m., we arrived at Eliosu again. The street was quiet, wind howling through half-finished buildings. The same iron fence stood there, shaking slightly under the night breeze. We pushed it open. The air was heavier than before, thicker, like breathing through cloth. I walked to the center of the hall where everything had started. The candles were gone this time. The floor was empty. But the smell? It was still there, that strange mix of oil, blood, and perfume. Lydia stood behind me, holding her phone flashlight. I held the bottle of oil tight. Then, from somewhere deep inside the walls, I heard footsteps. He came out slowly, smiling, calm as always. "Benita," he said softly, like we were old lovers meeting after years apart. "You came back." I swallowed hard. "You need to leave me alone," he chuckled. "You think this is about you? You broke the chain, but I still own the link." "What does that mean?" He stepped closer. "Faith was my final offering. But you," he smiled faintly, "you were my successor." I stared at him, confused. "What?" He nodded. "That hug, it wasn't just a mark, it was a transfer. You were supposed to take my place there. That's why you feel him even when I'm not there. Because you're half me now." My heart started racing. "You're insane," he smiled sadly. "No, you just don't understand yet, but you will." He reached into his pocket and pulled out something shiny, a broken piece of mirror. "Look at yourself," he said softly. "See how much like me you've become." I shouted, "No," and threw the oil at him. The bottle shattered against his chest, spilling across his shirt. He laughed. "You think oil can stop fire?" Then suddenly the room grew hotter. The candles that weren't even there started lighting up on their own, one by one in a circle around us. Lydia screamed, "Benita, run!" I shouted, but she didn't. She stayed, frozen. Daniel lifted his arms slowly. "You can't kill what you created." I grabbed the Bible and held it out. "In the name of Jesus." He laughed louder, the flames growing higher. "Don't call a name you don't trust." Something in me snapped. "I trust him," I screamed. At that moment, the flames went white. Daniel stopped laughing. He clutched his chest. "No, not yet." He fell to his knees. The fire spread to the floor, then the walls. The whole room glowed, almost blinding. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything went silent. The candles went out, the fire disappeared, and Daniel was gone, just gone. We stood there, trembling. The floor where he had stood was blackened with soot, shaped like wings spread open. Lydia grabbed my hand. "Let's go." We ran out into the night, gasping for air. When we reached the road, I looked back one last time. The building was dark again, quiet, empty. Or so I thought. In one of the windows, faintly, a face glowed for a second. Faith's face. Then it faded into the next morning. News broke everywhere. Abandoned building in Eliozu catches fire overnight. Remains of 2 men found inside. 2 men. Not one. Police couldn't identify them. They said the bodies were partially burned, but seated side by side. Lydia showed me the news and said, maybe he wasn't working alone. I didn't say anything, because deep inside, I knew exactly who the second body was. The man in the dark suit sitting beside Daniel. The same one who had said, move, when they brought those girls from the SUV. His right-hand man. The circle was broken. For days, I waited for nightmares, for whispers, for another message. But nothing came. Silence. Sweet, blessed silence. I finally slept without seeing his face. For the first time, I dreamed of light, bright, warm light. Weeks later, Lydia helped me find a new place at Rumuokoro. A small shop front, nothing fancy. I started selling clothes again, slowly rebuilding my life. Sometimes customers would compliment me. You're always smiling. You must be strong. I'd smile back, thinking, if only you knew. One evening, I was arranging dresses when a woman walked in with her daughter. She said, please, my child is afraid of everything. Can you talk to her? I knelt in front of the little girl, smiled, and said, fear loses power when you stop feeding it. She nodded shyly. As they were leaving, the mother said, thank you. You have a very peaceful face. Peace. That word hit me like a prayer, because for months I'd only known chaos. Now peace felt strange, but good. That night, I sat on my bed and opened my diary. For the first time, I wrote something new. Some people hug you to heal you. Others hug you to own you. But no matter who tries to claim you, remember, your soul is not for sale. I closed the book and smiled. Then my phone buzzed. I froze for a second, staring at the screen. Unknown number. My heart skipped. I opened it. You did well. Rest now. The screen blinked, then went dark. If you've watched this story till the end, thank you. And before you go, remember this. Not every touch is comfort. Not every smile is love. And not every hug is holy. Would you still hug a stranger after this? Let me know what you think in the comments. And please subscribe for more emotional, dramatic African stories that'll make you think, cry, and question everything.